So this is the last one of the foundation of economics. They're not really in any particular order. They're not in order of significance or importance. But the last one that's listed here is that trade creates value. So trade is voluntary exchange of goods and services between two or more parties. Voluntary is a key word here. No one's forcing you to do it. You go to the grocery store, you pick up the grapes that you would like to eat, you exchange some money for them. Voluntary exchange of goods and services between two or more parties. You did this on purpose. And so, because you did this on purpose, we know that value was just created because you did it on purpose and because the store that you traded with did it on purpose. We know that value was just created. If it weren't bringing you value, if the grapes were not of greater value to you than the money that you exchanged for them, you wouldn't have done it. That's the thought process here. That's how we know that trade creates value. As long as it's voluntary, we know that people wouldn't do it if it weren't creating value for them. If you weren't walking away from this exchange happier or more satisfied, then you came to the exchange. Okay. So this value it may or may not be money. Notice I didn't say that you need to walk away from the exchange richer than you came. It's just that you walk away more satisfied than you came. Value was created. Without trade, you'd have to produce everything you consume. You'd be on your own. Trade fosters exchange of goods, promotes specialization. We'll talk a lot more about this in the next chapter, and so I'm not going to spend a lot of time here. But it all sort of comes down to this idea of comparative advantage. Again, not going to spend a lot of time here because this will be key in the next chapter. We'll talk a lot about it in future videos. But comparative advantage is a situation where an individual or a business or a country can produce something at a lower opportunity cost than a competitor. And if I can produce it at a lower cost than you, it makes sense for me to produce it and then you to buy it from me. Because you can pay me for what I've produced less than it would have cost you to produce it on your own. Right? Because I can produce it at a lower cost than you can. I have a comparative advantage. And in that sense, in that way, trade is able to foster this exchange, promote specialization. If I can make it at a lower cost than you, I should specialize in that, and then we should trade. And I should get something from you that you have a comparative advantage in, that you can produce at a lower cost than I can, and then we both end up better off in the end. Trade again creates value. Where does trade happen? Of course, it happens in markets. Markets are facilitate trading. Markets bring buyers and sellers together to exchange goods and services. They do not have to be physical brick and mortar places. They can be like your supermarket, or they can be online, eBay, Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, wherever it is that buyers and sellers are coming together to exchange information and then also to exchange goods and services.